Hi everyone, welcome to your Dragon workshop. Today we're going to be using our usual reuse materials from Reverse Garbage Queensland. I'm sure you've got some amazing things in your collection at home now. I've got a few extra things here, and you also of course get your wonderful big box of materials. And I'm going to show you in this time how we're going to build all those bits and pieces together to make your own really special dragon. So we've got some tools too that I'll introduce you to, and some different ways of joining and mixing things up. So I want to talk about dragons and how fantastic they are. There are so many dragons in your storybooks in your room. My favourite personally is Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler's Zog. You'll remember him, he becomes a doctor at some point, or his doctor rides on Zog, I think. And he's really colourful and has all the amazing features that dragons have: scales and spiky bits on his back, and he breathes fire, sometimes snow, but fire. He also has a forked tongue, which is a really good dragon feature. But the great thing about dragons is that you can make them exactly as you want them. So you might want a puppet dragon, you might want a big Puff the magic dragon that might hang up in your room, or you might want one that can zoom around, that you can fly around your backyard. But any of these dragons are really fun to make, and you've got all the things that you'll need to make them with. So let's get started. Okay, I've got some really interesting materials to show you here. You've got a nice big box or a bag of materials to build your dragon. So hopefully, if you haven't already, you might want to pause this or come back to unpacking your box and having a good look through. But I'm going to unbox it for you and talk about all the bits and pieces. So with our dragons, we've got lots of things we can use for our dragon bodies. We've got some cups. We've got, here's some more cups in here. We've got some cardboard tubes. So you might have some cardboard tubes like this at home. You could use those as well, particularly if you want to make a really big dragon. But we've got enough in here for you to make a good dragon anyway. Okay. We've got some foam that can be really useful for building your dragon, especially the body. If you want a nice big long wiggly tail, or maybe a neck piece or something for the legs, that's a really good thing to use. We've got lots of this cotton wadding. So if you're building the body of your dragon and it's nice and hard, you might want to add some cotton wadding to make it a bit more squishy. Or you could use this cotton wadding to make maybe a white dragon, a snow dragon, something like that. Then, once you've got your body part, you might want to think about what kind of colour or scales or what your dragon will look like. So we've included some of this stuff, which we call plastic seaweed, even though it's not seaweed, but it looks a bit like seaweed. But it's nice and green, so very good for dragon colours. And you can cut it into different shapes. And what's really good about this stuff is that the sticky materials that we use is really good at sticking to it, so it's very useful. I'll talk about that in a minute. You've got some great fabrics, so maybe this could look a bit like scales of a dragon or part of a dragon. You've got some fur, so we've got our lovely Puff over here. Here she is. She's got some fur. You've got some fur in your box too. What else do we have? We have some interesting pieces of cardboard and some... Does anyone know what these are? Any clues? They're actually lighting gels. So if you go and see a production on stage, maybe you've seen a production of Zog, they have lots of lights that shine down onto the stage, and they put these gels, they call them, in front of the lights to spotlight different colours and to change the colours. But they're very, very useful for maybe for some fire breathing. You can cut out some fire shapes from it, or for eyes, or whatever you like. Cardboard, very, very useful. What else do we have in here? We've got some tops from like a Slurpee container. They could make some really good boggly eyes, perhaps. some things for claws. So dragons usually have really big claws to hold things and pick things up, like a bird claw. We use these things because they hold on to something, but they've also got this lovely sort of claw kind of shape to them. So you can cut those up into claws. And I'll show you what I mean with that in a minute. Bottle caps, very, very useful. We've got some bags of interesting things. So some sticky things, I'll talk about that soon. We've also got some bags of something like this. So they could be whiskers or maybe parts for the tail or even fire. Lots of silvery bits, very good for dragons. Lovely sort of magical colour silver. Some lycra and all sorts of interesting things in that bag. We've also got this bag, which is full of things that are very useful for body parts. So in one of my dragons, and I'll show you very soon, I've used these to help with the wing shape. Okay, can anyone guess what they are? Plastic takeaway knives. We've also got some corks, very useful for cutting up. Lots of things for eyes. And don't forget, your dragon doesn't have to have 2 eyes. Your dragon could have 5 eyes or 3 eyes. It could have 2 heads. Don't limit yourself to 1 head. Why not? Lots of straws, very useful. Yeah, lots of interesting things in that one there. What else do we have? More sticky materials, all sorts of lovely things. Now, don't limit yourself to what you got into your box. We tried to give you lots of interesting things that we get, but I'm sure you've got some amazing things at home. And one of those things is the kind of bottle caps. So this one's a really interesting bottle cap. I love this one, from a tomato sauce bottle maybe. So it would make a really good snout for a dragon maybe, or if you had 2, you could maybe ears or some really cool little eyes. So bottle caps is a really good thing. Straws, lots of people usually have straws at home. You've got a few in there, some lovely colours, but they're very, very useful. And corks. Yeah, corks are really, really fun to use as well. So there's all your materials. Maybe unpack your box now, or if you have already, we can move on to the next part, which is how to join things together. Yep. Okay, in this part of your instructions, I'm going to talk about joining things together. And that's a really important part of when you're doing making, because you don't want things to just fall apart once you start playing with them. You want to try and make them so they've got lots of life in them. So with my dragons, we used some glue, because that's what we do use at Reverse Garbage. And we do tend to use a bit of hot glue. So you might have some hot glue at home. This is my hot glue tool. If you do, then you can use it, definitely. It's great to use. But if you don't have one, I'm going to show you some other methods of joining together. Remember, if you're using a hot glue tool, it is really, really hot. Make sure you do it with an adult around, and even with the adults, you can get burnt. So be very, very careful. I'm going to put my tool over here. The other kinds of glue you could use is maybe a PVA or craft glue. So that's a white craft glue. You'll often have it in the classroom, but it takes a little bit longer to dry. So by all means, make sure you do use it, but you might have to wait until tomorrow to play with your dragon. But let's talk about some things you can use so you can get started playing on your dragon straight away. Another thing we think that you probably could use in this workshop is some sticky tape. Now, at Reverse Garbage Queensland, we don't use sticky tape because nobody throws sticky tape away. And we have lots of other interesting things that do head towards landfill that we can use in place of sticky tape. But I know you have some sticky tape at home, so feel free to use it, but try to challenge yourself not to use it and see how you go. So the things we are sending you are sticky foam. So this stuff is really, really useful. You'll get it in a sheet like this. So you can see it's got a paper back. You'll get it in a sheet like this, but don't use it whole like this. Cut it up into little strips about this kind of size, and then you can use it in place of sticky tape. It's really useful for a dragon because even I think this one looks a little bit like a scale, so you could cut it into shapes or cut it into bigger pieces if you want to use it for sticky, but don't use it just as this shape. Make sure you cut it smaller. You'll also get a bag that looks a bit like this. So this has stickers in it. You can see some of them are in big long lengths like this. Great colours. but some of them are in little tiny pieces. So if you've ever been to a Reverse Garbage Queensland workshop, you'll remember that we use lots of these little pieces to do our joining in place of sticky tape. So with these pieces, you peel the back off with some patience, peel the back off like that, and then you can use it just like sticky tape to join things together. Make sure that you pop the back of your sticker into your rubbish bin, which is on your table, and off you go. Because there's so many great colours, think about how you could use these maybe in place of eyebrows or eyes, or maybe your dragon's fingers have little fingernails that might be different colours. That would be pretty cool. You can use it for lots of different things. The other little tip I have here is some rubber bands, which are very, very useful, and also wire. So I'm going to talk about how you can use wire in this next little bit. Okay. Now we're going to talk about joining with wire. So wire is a really useful joining material when you're doing your construction. It's strong, it's easy to manipulate, so you can bend it really easily, and you don't have to wait for it to dry. So you can use it straight away. So with my dragon over here, which I'm really sorry, I'm going to have to pull off his head, I've used lots of wire in this construction. So you can see, like, this is his head, and it's made out of a paper cup inside there, covered in this silver material. And that has all been joined with wire and actually some staples. And you can see on his wings here, we've used, as I said, those takeaway plastic knives and wire to strap the foam onto that base material. It's like his skeleton, like the bones of his wings are there. There's also some wire that's inside his body. So this is multiple cardboard tubes inside there, and we've joined that with some wire and some foam as well. So we'll talk about that in a minute. You can see he's got some wire here as well. So that was where I was thinking of how I could make some legs. So that's just waiting for building onto. All right, so when you're talking about using your wire, you probably want to use some wire cutters, and I'll talk about that in a second. But you'll get your wire and you might cut it into a small piece and create a button-like effect. So you thread it through and then join it together, and that'll hold your piece on. So like these eyes, they're joined with that kind of joining material, that kind of mechanism. Have a go. Okay, I'm going to explain to you a few of the tools that I used when I was doing my building, a few of the tools that you might see if you come to a workshop at Reverse Garbage Queensland, but you can use any tools you like in your own home. Some of it you might have, some you might not. So these are my little collection of tools. The first thing I want to talk about is this green mat that I have. It's a really useful thing to have. You don't have to have it, but just know if you're cutting things, then you just need to be careful of the surface underneath where you're cutting. So this is a really useful thing that protects the surface underneath from any sharp blades and things that I'm using. But obviously you're going to use things like scissors. These are fabric scissors, and you might want to get hold of some of these if you have some around the place. Ask really nicely, because you don't want to use these on paper and cardboard. These are just for fabric. So some regular scissors. A stapler is a really useful tool. Sometimes you have a smaller stapler, it won't be able to do the big things that we do, but a nice big stapler like this would be useful. Things like a ruler and pens, not strictly necessary, but sometimes people like to use them to do a plan or to add little details to their dragon, or maybe measure some material that you know is going to go the length of your dragon. You could do some measuring. It's a really good thing to do. We also have some wire cutters. So this one here is something that will snip that wire that is included in your pack. The wire that you have is quite soft, so you might not need, don't go out and buy some, but if you have something like this, very useful. Also, this one here is really good for bending wire. Again, you could probably just use your fingers with the wire that you have, but if you have something like this, grab hold of it, it might come in use. Something that will punch holes, that can be useful. This one here is called an awl, that's AWL, and it's a really pointy piece, so we're not going to run around with that, but it is very, very useful. When we talked about the wire poking holes and then feeding the wire through, you can use this to go through all these lovely materials. So this kind of thing is a bit hard to get through. Also, a Stanley knife or a box cutter is very useful for cutting materials. Don't use this without an adult around. Very sharp, and just be respectful of your tools. And what other tools could you use? In this part, I want to explain to you just how to start your dragon. I know it's really exciting and you want to get onto the scales and the eyes and the whiskers and the fire breathing, but it's a really important part of the building process to make sure that the body of your dragon is really nice and secure. And think about whether you want your little dragon arms or a tail or a big elongated face. Because once you've got that structure in place, like a skeleton, you can add all those lovely features afterwards. So I'm going to run you through a few of our dragons here and talk about how they were made. So first, I want to start with our most spectacular Puff the Magic Dragon, who was made by another employee of ours called Mercedes. And she made this beautiful Puff the Magic Dragon for her daughter. So Puff here is made with some cardboard tubes and some foam. That's what she's used as the start of her dragon. And the reason she used foam is because it's really easy to poke maybe some wire through. It's a good place to start. It's nice and light. This Puff lived hanging from the roof of her daughter's room for a while, and now it hangs on the roof of our workshop space watching over us. But she started with foam. So that's a really good tip for if you want to make a larger dragon or if you want to join things together. It's the same with, say, this little dragon here. So this little three-headed dragon is very, very small, but you can see how these heads are just made from these little pieces of foam that are sticking out. The other materials that we sent to you that I talked about earlier were the cardboard tubes. So this one here was made with cardboard tubes, and my dragon here, which we call the sea dragon, is also made with cardboard tubes. So I'll talk about this one first. This one is just a nice big cardboard tube and then a cup or a cardboard tube put at an angle and then secured, and then you cover it with your dragon skin. And this is a bit of foam, so that's pretty cool. But he's nice and strong, and he's really good because you can put him on your arm and he's got some fire breathing out the front. If you're looking at our sea dragon with his really, really cool wings, I've actually made this with 3 cardboard tubes. Now you're going to get this many tubes in your box, so you could choose to do this. This dragon has a little wiggle. He can move a little bit, so this one's sort of for flying around the room. And we need to join those pieces inside and make the structure of the dragon really strong before we cover it in these great scales. So if you took this dragon apart, you would see cardboard tubes with cotton wadding over the top of them, something to join them through the middle, and then this tail is made with foam that then is covered with that plastic seaweed. So we'll have a bit of a closer look at that one. If you don't want to make something like that, you might want to make just a little simple dragon like this one out of the cups. You can see you've got 1 cup for the base and 1 cup for the head. You could use some wire to make sure they were joined together. This one's good too because it's a really good little hand puppet. Some foam for the wings, some little bottle caps for the eyes, some more foam for his lovely scaly back. And he's got some really cool materials to make his like little scaly, dragony body. So that's a really good little easy dragon. Okay, I'll tell you more about the sea dragon. I'm going to show you some interesting ways of using this plastic seaweed material to create scales. Now I'm going to use the plastic seaweed, but you could do this with paper, you could do this with fabric, anything you like really. So you've got this lovely big piece that you can use to either just cover up the whole dragon or cover up the whole dragon and then start using smaller pieces of it to make these scaly looking things that really help give your dragon that kind of scaly character. So there's some really clever things to do with the plastic seaweed. If you're looking at this tail okay? It's actually foam inside there and then covered in the plastic seaweed. So you want to have a nice pointy piece of foam like this, and then you want to roll it up like an ice cream cone. So if you can see, if you roll it up on a corner like that, then you've covered the whole amount of the foam. Now leave this piece here, because then you can join that onto the rest of your dragon and use the sticky material to stick it on. But if you cut the edge of this here, as you rolled it, that edge would be exposed to show the scales. So that's how this piece has been done here. So how do we create these scales? I've got one here that I've done previously. So you can see it's a big long strip with these little bumps cut in it. You don't need to cut these bumps individually. There's a little shortcut you can do with that. So you take your skinnier piece of the plastic seaweed and fold it into 4 or 3, however many you feel comfortable with. And then you can cut the shapes. So holding it, you might want to use a bulldog clip to hold it together, or a paper clip. Cut these little scallop shapes out. Like so. And then once you unwrap it, you can see how those scallop shapes appear for your scales. And you also get this little piece of offcut, so that might be useful too. This one here is a bit better. You can see how that might be good for a scaly piece as well. Okay, so there's your scales to build your dragon. The other thing I wanted to show you was this lovely spiky back piece. So it's done in a really similar way. You fold your pieces of plastic, then you cut out your triangles, so you've got a little triangle-y piece there. But then on the other side to the triangles, you cut these little tabs. Okay, so then as you're folding it along here, as you're sticking it down, you put one tab to one side and the other tab to the other side. The other tab like that, if you can see, and stick those down. And that will make your scaly back piece stand up straight, be nice and strong. So that's a really clever little thing to do. You can use that wherever you like over your dragon. And again, use materials, fabrics, maybe some different colours. You could even do it with the stickers, the long pieces of sticker. They can look really cool as a feature, but that will help create your lovely dragony scales. Okay, well thank you so much for building dragons with me. Now remember, what we do at Reverse Garbage Queensland is saving things from going into landfill. And all these great dragons have a really, really good environmental message to them. Think about the different pieces you used and where they came from and what they could be used for in future. And I hope you really, really love your dragons. Keep mending them if they break. You made them, so you can fix them. If you have any problems, then I'm online right now to answer the questions about joining or building. And if you want to, you can head over to RGQ TV, where we've got this video, so you can pause it and rewind it and slow it down and see which bits that you need help with. Don't forget, in your box you've got this little leaflet that talks about different dragons and different materials, places you can get advice about building dragons and having some inspiration, and a little list of things that you might need. There's also online some activity sheets and things that you could use to inspire your dragon making. So thank you again for joining me. Hopefully you'll join me for puppets in the near future, but otherwise I'll see you at RGQ soon.